And we don't even have music right now. Like, what the hell? I was gonna do this, so we didn't even get it. I'm doing it anyway. And we got no music, damn it. But listen, welcome to.
We got no Vic either.
Welcome to Two Dudes and a Mexican.
Falling apart.
I'm your host today, Peter Soprano. To my right, resident Mexican David Quinones. And we are back, Dave, on a special Saturday show. And it's Saturday because we thought Vic was going to be available on Saturday.
I thought we were on the same page. I guess we weren't.
Yeah.
Since he said let's do it on Saturday.
I know, exactly. And now he's not here on Saturday. So I don't know what happened. Dre's not here. But Dre is a little bit understandable because we discussed it without him. But the host again is gone. And now he's taking off. He's going to be gone for another 2 weeks.
Where's he going?
Tokyo.
I'm at the TSA.
Listen, we're going to have to do something.
TSA.
He can't go.
Yeah, put him on a no-fly list.
He's not allowed to leave. He's not allowed to leave. And he has to powder through that. All right. Listen, so first of all, before we even get into all the action that's happening tomorrow, obviously with NFL and NBA is getting started and free agency and baseball is getting started. It's a Saturday. Saturday is for college football, and we got to talk about what happened today.
Crazy.
The best game of the year. It was hyped up as the number one game of the year, and it lived up to the hype. Number 2 LSU, really number 1 against number 3 Alabama, really number 2.
I like that. That's
so
good.
We got to see the real big matchup today, and it came down to the last second. Joe Burrows versus Tua. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name right now, but it was an awesome game. What are your thoughts on the game?
Man, listen, it lived up to its hype. I mean, it was beast against beast. And each had. They're thoroughbred. Obviously, Burrows had his running back.
393 passing.
Tua had his wide receiver.
He had 400 yards
passing. Ridiculous. I mean, and it's crazy because the only blemish was, that one interception that Tua threw. So Burrows obviously was perfect. He threw for 3, no interceptions. I mean, it lived up to its hype. It was crazy. I mean, we didn't even know if, we kind of knew, obviously, but we didn't even know if Tua was going to, play today. I mean, there was a lot of speculation. Yeah. Obviously, Saban was playing, that whole game and everything, you know what I'm saying? So, but unbelievable game. I mean, probably, one of the best games, I think, in my opinion, ever in college football history. And man, hats to Burrows pulling it out. Yeah. Taking it and leading the charge for LSU. I mean, what happens from here now? I mean, what happens with the playoffs? What happens with who's going now?
Well, now that's going to be the big question because LSU, they obviously should be number 1 in the polls next week by beating them.
Easy.
That shouldn't be any issue. Now the question is, how far does Alabama fall down? Me personally, knowing college football and knowing how they usually favor Alabama, I can't see them falling outside the top 5-6. I really can't.
Me neither. I agree.
I still think that they will probably put them in front of Georgia, who's number 6 right now. So I don't see them dropping out of the top 5. They will put, obviously Penn State lost, so that already pushed them back. I think by the time the week is done, you're going to have 1 LSU, 2 will be probably Ohio State, 3 will be Clemson. Actually, yeah, I could see 3 being Clemson, and then I still think Alabama's probably going to be 4 or 5.
Probably.
Do you see anybody sneaking in to possibly get past them?
I don't know. I mean,
to even push them to 5, because right now it's 4.
I mean, listen, you
go from 3 to 4. Like, what's the big deal?
I mean, you might be able to make an argument for Minnesota, right? Oh man,
that
was crazy, man. That was.
We'll get to that one in a second. That was an awesome game.
That was nuts. I mean, listen, offhand, I don't like these rankings sometimes because it could be biased.
They are.
And why don't we have a playoff? Why don't we have it just like the NFL? Yeah,
not just
8
4
games, a bracket. Whoever wins and keeps winning goes on and wins it. I mean, that's how it should be. So, but obviously,
win on the field, not just in the records.
I mean, it's been done like this, the whole way around. Like this is a history of it, and I don't think it's ever going to change.
I think eventually it will. I think there's going to be too much public pressure that eventually it will.
So maybe
the next couple of years, but I don't think it'll be immediate though.
But I mean, like right now, sneaking in, I can't think of anybody right now. I mean,
this is a shame. You're coming into week number 3 and you're going to drop 1 spot.
I mean, it's crazy. It's nuts.
You know how crazy it is that Alabama scored a touchdown with 1 minute to go, which made it back to I think a 6-point game. They said that one touchdown score may have kept them into the top 4.
That's crazy. Like,
that's nuts.
Why?
Like, why?
Like, why?
You
Like,
are
that
losing.
should not matter. Yeah, you're losing. You're losing to a team that
Better than you.
better than you, and hasn't even gotten the respect that they deserve.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they should be number 1.
They
I mean,
should have been number 1 coming into the week.
I mean, yeah, we talked about this,
Yeah.
and like you said, and I like how you said it. I mean, they gotta be number 1. They gotta be number 1 with the standings coming up. So
yeah, so
without
I agree
a
with
doubt,
that.
man.
But let's move on to a couple of the other games that happened today, and you already touched on it. The game with Minnesota against Penn State.
Crazy.
A game that listen, we were watching from the start. Minnesota jumped out early. They were up 24-10, I think it was. And then Penn State made the charge back in the second half.
Crazy.
And it came down to the last second. It was a 5-point game. Penn State had the ball. About a minute to go. They're driving down the field and intercepted in the end zone.
Crazy.
Could you have a better ending than that?
No, you couldn't. I mean, listen, it was
DJ Fleck.
it was like a kind of like a fairy tale ending, man.
Yeah.
And obviously the turnover ratio was huge in this game. I mean, Clifford throwing 3 picks. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that. Listen, Minnesota played their asses off, and listen, and
they deserved that one.
They made big connections with their quarterback and their wide receiver Bateman. I mean, 2 huge plays. That one big play with the blown coverage. Actually, both of them were blown coverages. And that other play to get the first down close to the goal line, that was huge.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. I thought Penn State was gonna rumble down the field.
I did too.
I thought they were gonna take the lead and win this one. They had a penalty that pushed them back to like the 28, I think.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just like, And
I still thought they were going to score.
I still thought they were going to score. And that throw, it was crazy because you didn't know where that last throw from Clifford was going. Yeah. I mean, you didn't know if it was going to his wide receiver that was coming on his cross route or back. And there was some talk about like a pass interference, this and that. But listen, you got to give credit to Minnesota, man. They came out to play. We talked about that delayed game that didn't get called.
Yeah.
That was so messed up because you know what? Listen, if there's double zeros on the clock,
you gotta call it.
I don't care who it is.
You gotta call it.
It could be Alabama. I mean, it could be LSU. You gotta call that delayed game. I mean, come on. It's a delayed game. That's it. It wouldn't have been fair.
They called it in the game with LSU.
Yeah.
They called it in the game with LSU. He snapped the ball literally as it hit zero, and they called it.
This was worse. I mean, the ball wasn't even in his hands. It was a 0 on the clock, and then I think it was even like a millisecond or a half a second after 0, and then the ball gets in his hands.
Yeah,
I mean, it was.
You gotta call that.
Yeah, you gotta call that. So I mean, but listen, big up to Minnesota.
Yes.
I mean, they're the real deal. Hopefully, everybody starts taking them seriously.
Don't forget, we mentioned it last week first.
Yeah, and listen, we were talking about it. And I'll be honest with you. I mean, I slept on them too. I didn't think they were that good.
Yeah.
But listen, I mean,
they play as a team. That's
that connection with their quarterback. Montgomery, right? Montgomery.
Yeah.
Montgomery and Bateman, man. That's a big connection.
Listen, and the thing that I
Gophers, man, Gophers.
Yeah, for real. That's one. So
to the Gophers.
What I gotta say about that is that we talked about how far we think Alabama's gonna drop. Minnesota came into the week 17th, which is unbelievable. You're undefeated, but you're 17th. How far did they move up?
Man, they're definitely leapfrogging a bunch of teams. Yeah. I don't know if they cracked the top 5, top 6. Obviously,
they won't respect them that much.
So, but listen, they're leapfrogging people from number 17. Definitely.
I think. Let's see. By being the number 5 team in the country,
come on, you got it.
Now, I still don't think the voters will respect them enough to put them like 6, 7.
No, I don't.
But I do think that they will flirt probably like 10th.
Wow. So they cracked the top 10.
I think they may be like 10th.
I agree with you. I think it's definitely a possibility. Listen, you beat a top 5 team who me and you have been high on.
And they're
undefeated. Been high on.
We thought they were going to make
have had a lot of big wins, and this one obviously was a disappointing one for them. Well, a loss for them. I'm talking about for Penn State. Yeah. I mean, I think definitely should be able to crack the top 10 easily.
Now, does Penn State fall out in the top 10 now?
Man, that's tough.
We've been very high on them. We said they're going to be in the final.
It sucks because I'm biased. I'm biased right now because I really like that.
There's no way you can't put Minnesota ahead of Penn State because They beat them head to head. They're undefeated. Penn State hasn't lost. There's no conventional wisdom that will say you can't put Minnesota.
So I think it all depends on where they place Minnesota. Then I mean, if you place Minnesota, top 10 or a little further, I mean, let's say they're 10. Yeah, you have to place Penn State outside 10. You're right. That's
if they find some way to put Penn State ahead of Minnesota,
that's bullshit.
Oh, it'll be complete mayhem. Like I will go out personally just yelling on my social media about that. That'll be
on his Twitter too. Attack everybody.
I'm getting them. I'm gonna get blocked by all of them. So, I'm getting blocked by all of them. All right, so let's move on to the next game, which was
about the powerhouse FSU.
Yeah, you guys may get Deion Sanders. What would Deion Sanders be a good signing right there?
Yeah. He still got the speed.
He's still got the 419.
I believe it. He's probably faster than a lot of.
He's probably faster than a lot of players.
Don't sleep on Dion.
Yeah,
man.
I'm definitely not. Listen, I think
don't sleep on Showtime. I'll never sleep on Showtime.
I think that'll be a good signing if they get him, because it'll be similar to what Michigan did with Juwan Howard. You get a big name in there, everybody recognizes him, and people will follow him. Like Deion has those personalities. So you got to follow primetime. So. But quickly, let's go to the next game. Baylor, another team that was disrespected, number 12 in the nation, and they played against TCU, and I thought they were disrespected only being a 2.5 favorite, playing against TCU, who's a 500 team. They were 4-4. It went into overtime. It was a crazy overtime game, because even again the overtime, I never knew this rule that one hand equals 1 foot, because it was 4th down, game was over, and he pushed out of bounds. People are starting to run on the field. They show a replay, and he gets one hand in bounds, and they counted it as a touchdown. I had no idea that one hand equals 1 foot.
I didn't either.
But TCU was given a touchdown. Another overtime went on. It went to 3 overtimes, and in the third overtime, Baylor missed their extra point, so they were up by 6. TCU coming down the field on a 4th down interception, and the game's over. But it was an unbelievable game to watch. It was on FS1, so it wasn't really being shown worldwide, like on ABC or CBS or anything like that. But it was a really fun game to watch. What were your thoughts on it?
I mean, it was crazy, man. Listen, I mean, TCU had it in the end of regulation, obviously. I mean, I thought they were going to win.
Stop.
So, that's all they needed, and all of a sudden, Baylor freaking ties
4th down. It was 4th down, and Baylor.
But these are games you want to see. Like these are games on a Saturday. When you're waiting for the NFL, when you're waiting for the national. I mean, this gets you into
the people going.
These young guys, man. These college players that they don't have contracts. They're not playing for what I'm saying. The man. They're not playing for contracts. They're not playing for money. It's great to see games like this that are exciting for the young youth. That's almost probably ready to go into the NFL, but they're not there yet. But they're playing for pride. Yeah. They're playing for honor. And, I think that gets a loss sometimes in the game, in any game, actually, not just football. But these are games you want to see on Saturday. Yeah. And what a freaking game. I thought, could you imagine if TCU pulls it out at the end of regulation? In regulation, that would have been crazy.
And it was good you bring that point up, because that's one point I actually left out, is that it was a 4th down, and Baylor had the ball, and they found a way to score. It was just unbelievable. Like this game could have ended like 4 or 5 times, and it just kept going, and finally Baylor found a way to win by 6 at the end.
Crazy.
And now the question is this going to hurt or help Baylor? They stayed undefeated, but they had to go to 3 overtimes to beat a 4-4 team.
Yeah, I mean.
But so it's like, are they going to move up? Are they going to stay where they are? Like, it's tough to gauge them right now. They've won a lot of close games this year.
Yeah, it is tough. I think it all depends on everybody else. Yeah. So
it's going to be a crazy week to figure out where
it is with this whole standing. That's why the standings they're very tough, to gauge.
I hate them.
I don't like them either, because it's the eye of the beholder, if anything.
Yeah, I think the only time you should really look at the standings is a week before the season ends, because it lets you know where you are before you go into your championship game, and that's the only time I really should pay attention to the rankings. Before that, it's just hearsay. It's just talk. We talked about, why is Ohio State number 1? It won't matter. LSU will be number 1 after the week. We talked about, why is Penn State number 4 over Clemson? It won't matter. Penn State lost. So it all works out in the end. So that's why talking about it now is just so ESPN can get another show on the air. It's just so people can talk about it.
More publicity.
Yeah, but it's not.
Talk about.
Yeah, it means nothing right now. What's going to mean something is probably another 2-3 weeks when you have your last game of the year, when Penn State goes against Ohio State. Those are the type of games you want to see those games, and that's going to decide what's going to happen. So we actually were going to talk about the Wisconsin-Iowa game, but we're being honest about it. We didn't see that because of all the action that was going on the same time of that game with the LSU game and another game that we're going to talk about in a second. It was too much. So we listen. We can't keep our eyes on every single thing at one time. So we
got lives.
Yeah. So we're going to skip that game and actually move on to another game that I know you weren't able to catch it, but K-State and Texas. It was and this will just tell you. I just want to talk about this because it's a quick way of how betting works. So. For some, K-State is ranked number 60 in the nation. Texas is not ranked. Texas was a 7-point favorite.
Holy shit.
So I was like, all right, so I'm going to take K-State. I mean, they should win the game. So, but you're getting 7 points with it. I thought it was an easy bet. Took the bet. Texas is going down the field in a 24-24 game with 1 minute to go.
Shit.
They're at the 5-yard line this first and goal. Now, if you bet Texas, you're like, all right, they're going to score a touchdown. I'm going to at least get a push. I'm fine. If you bet K-State, you're like, fuck, they're about to score a touchdown. And then I lost my bet.
I lost my bet.
Now, out of all things that happened, Texas plays for the field goal. They could have scored a touchdown, and they just ran plays to get them to the clock to run out.
That is weird.
They kicked the field goal, win the game 27-24. So the people that bet Texas are pissed because they didn't try to score a touchdown. I'm happy because my point covered. So Texas wins the game, and I still get my money.
That's crazy.
So that'll just a little insight of how crazy betting could be. Like you really just never know. Everything is a 50-50 flip. So,
I'm not a betting man.
But for a team to actually say no, we're just gonna kick the field goal, it made me so happy. If I'm a Texas person, I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like they literally and it was even a play where I think they got a penalty on purpose. Like they ran the ball in. They only had they had the illegal formation because you know how you need to have the 5 linemen and then 2 guys on the line. Yeah. They had the 5 linemen and only 1 guy on the line. Everybody else was behind the line of scrimmage, and they ran the ball. And he ran it so slow, and it looked like they almost let him score, and he went a touchdown. They had the penalty, and they had to call it back, and that's when they got to kick the field goal. I'm like, yo, this is nuts. So, like I said, made me happy because I bet Tennessee, but it's one of the craziest things that you could ever see. So
that's crazy, man.
Before we get into the NFL games tomorrow, we want to talk quickly about our baseball teams. Free agency started this week. Teams are now starting to investigate what they can do and help out their roster. I mostly just want to talk about not specific players, and you can mention specific players if you want, but what do our teams need? So let's quickly start on the Yankees since our guy, the Yankee guy, Vic, isn't here.
The Chunkies.
Let's close the doors.
The New York Chunkies.
The resident Yankee
bring the bulldozer.
Wants to start all
clear
over.
like a parking lot.
Listen, I know you think the Yankees don't have too many issues. I think I think they have a lot of issues to do with because I think they need 2 starters in there.
They need a leading pitcher.
They need aces. They need need leading starting pitching. They need guys who can start game 1, game 2 of the series. I also think that they need players that can play small ball, and they don't have that. Every single person in their lineup swings for the fences. If you look at their lineup real quick, you got the catcher Sanchez swings for the fences. Luke Voigt at first swings for the fences. Mateo doesn't swing for the fences, but he hits 25 to 30 home runs. He can hit 25 to 30 home runs a year. Torres, he's a guy who swings for the fences. Third base, they're going to have Andujar, and he's a guy who swings for the fences. Then in the outfield, you got Stanton, and then you got Judge in the outfield who both swing for the fences. The only people that didn't really swing for the fences are Gardner and Didi, and both of them are free agents are probably gone. So they don't have any guys to play small ball. And if they go into the playoffs again next year with that same team that just swings for the fences, they're going to run into a team that has good pitchers again, and I think they're going to lose. They have to get top pitchers, and they have to get people that play small ball. So that's my comment on the Yankees. I know you don't think they need as much.
I don't think they need as much in terms of because you know what, like you saw when everybody started getting hurt, you named a lot of players, but a lot of them were hurt, and then you had guys like Topman and
Maben,
Maben, and all these guys started contributing with the small ball, and the team was different. So obviously it was due to injury, and that's what happens sometimes. And that's what was so spectacular about the Yankees season this past season is that their regular starters weren't there. Their regular starters didn't get them to the playoffs.
I agree.
You know, it was the guys that were able to fill in. And usually, you know, you have that excuse of, well, you know, our guys are hurt. Like, you know, we didn't have our guys there.
They don't need that
and they didn't need them. It was crazy.
But that's the thing.
So,
I think they're a great regular season
so-
team, but they need it tightened up for the playoffs, and that's the part.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think what hurt them the most.
Different beast.
I think what hurt them the most, you know, if anything, was to have that, you know, that number one starter, which was unclear. You know,
It was supposed to be CC.
as much as I like Tanaka, listen, I like Tanaka.
He used to be an ace, but not anymore.
You know, he's got elbow problems. You know, he's probably not 100%.
Maybe
He probably wasn't 100%. You know, this year.
Maybe if Severino gets back to 100%,
you know, Sevy got hurt obviously early, and then it took him a long time to get.
Maybe he'll be that guy, but they still need another guy.
He might be him. So listen, they need a number one starter,
Yeah.
maybe a number two, but at least a number one. I think they could compete with the Astros better if they had that true number one.
Yeah, I agree.
Even though I don't think pitching was their biggest downfall in the season in the series against the Astros.
I think that's what I was talking about. They didn't play small ball.
I thought that timely hitting. Obviously, they had chances. They had chances to score runs.
They did.
I mean, I think I can't remember.
The Verlander game.
I can't remember, but like games like 4, 5, and 6, they were like their percentage with runners in scoring position was horrible. So, but now
That's what happens in playoffs.
on the flip side, the Astros.
2 innings.
I mean,
with bases loaded.
You see how the Astros got beat. You see how the Astros got beat too. You know, in the World Series, with not playing small ball and relying too much on the home run ball.
And that's kind of
it's crazy how like they were able to beat, you know, the Yankees. And listen, they beat the Yankees on big home runs too.
Oh, they did.
I mean, Springer had big home runs. Bregman had big home runs, you know, in that series. I mean, even Correa, and Altuve. So those were big home runs. Those weren't, you know, runs that were manufactured, you know, with the small ball. Those were home runs, timely home runs. And I think that was the biggest difference in that series. You know, the Yankees didn't have those big, timely home runs. They had home runs, you know, like to tie it, obviously, with LeMahieu, you know, to tie that one game, but they still lost.
See,
so
I agree with that.
Crazy.
I agree with that point, but I just think that if they were able to, I think the game, like you said, they had the game-winning homer Correa, they had a game-winning homer Altuve, but I think if the Yankees were able to get some extra runs late, because remember, they were leading in those games.
Yeah, they were.
If they were able to get that one insurance run late, it may have made the whole difference in the game, but they couldn't get it because everybody's swinging for fences. Like we saw a couple times where they had the first two guys on the base, and instead of bunting to get the second and third one out, they swing for fences. They're out. They strike out.
Bunting is a lost art.
They don't do it anymore.
A lot of people don't do it. I mean, if you take a sweep, you know, of the stats, you know, throughout the years. Of the players that bunt, it's not.
It's less and
I
less.
mean, it's definitely lost art, especially nowadays where the home run ball is prominent. You know, the fans want to see it. It makes the game more exciting.
The fans
and you know what? And you put your numbers up. I mean, listen, what would you rather want? Like you know, 20 bunts, you know, safely, you know, onto a base, or would you rather want, you know, 20 home runs out of the park?
I mean, but the thing is,
the game has changed. The game has changed greatly.
I understand that point, but I'd rather see 20 runs on the scoreboard. And if the bunting is going to help me get those runs, I'd rather see that.
Me too. But it's not as.
It's a different generation.
It's not as nice. It's not as glorious. You know, people are not going to stand up for a nice bunt. They're going to stand up for like a great home run. So it's unfortunate to say that, but that's the truth.
Well, we've already spent too much time with the Yankees. What do the Mets need? What do the Mets need?
Listen.
Ownership.
I think.
No, that's definitely.
Well, listen, we got our manager, you know, Carlos Beltran, which I was surprised about, but
no managerial
I can kind of see, you know, where, you know, the Mets are heading, you know, towards this new era of, you know, having that new manager that's not experienced, but, you know, the GM having an impact, you know, everybody else around him, his bench coach, you know, his third base coach, everybody having an impact and helping that person. So, I mean, in all honesty, like I'm a big fan of Joe Girardi. I thought he did a great job with the Yankees, and I thought the Mets should have got him. Obviously, they didn't, and what for me looks worse is the Phillies get him. So I don't like that, obviously, as a Met fan. But listen, I'm trusting in the GM, in Brody Van Wagenen, making the right decisions. I hope he's right. So I'm kind of rolling the dice and going with this. So, I think the biggest hole with the Mets, obviously this past year, was their bullpen. Relief pitching, even their closer. We thought we had a great closer, a lock-in closer with Edwin Diaz.
I don't think he'll bounce back next year.
I think he will. So that's why I'm not too worried, because you know what? Listen, he came from Seattle to New York, two big different markets. I mean, huge. I think the shock of everything probably got him. But I think the kid's gonna be okay. You got to stick with him, give him faith, give him some opportunities, give him some more support and better help. I think he's gonna be fine this year. Just get
him an eighth inning guy.
Get us a better eighth inning guy.
If you're up 3 runs and the eighth inning guy gives up 1 or 2 runs every time, you put him in a 1 or 2 run situation every game. Like get him some easy saves and get his confidence up.
So I think all we got to do is work on the bullpen. I think our starting pitching is going to be okay. We still got Syndergaard, we still got DeGrom. Maybe pick up one more starting pitcher. I don't know if we're gonna be able to start. Wheeler. I don't know if we're gonna be able to sign.
Are you gonna keep him?
Probably not. Probably not. Yeah, I don't think so either.
Maybe in a Brave.
But listen, we just need a strong 3. I mean, I think we'll be fine. Compliment them with Seth Lugo. Maybe a starter this year. Maybe not. Who knows? We'll see. I think our offense is fine. I think build the team around our star players. Alonso and then McNeil and Conforto too. I'm glad they didn't trade Conforto, even though he was a possible trade bait. Those are the big 3 that you stick with.
This year, does Syndergaard get traded or you keep him?
No, we keep him. I think so. Depending on how the
rumors
year goes.
swirling out there.
Yeah, rumors are always going to be there.
It's going to be a pie.
But listen, you got to keep a guy like that, even though he rants and he's crazy like the way he is. Listen, he's a hell of a pitcher. He's better than he's better than most starting pitchers, especially for a second number 2. He's better than a lot of number 2s out there. So I think you stick with him. So yeah,
he's a top 3 number 2 in the league.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
And he may be better than that if Cole leaves Houston. But
so what do the Braves need?
The Braves need primarily one thing. They need an ace. They need an ace. The guy up there to start with manager. That would be big help also. That I've been very hard on Snicker, and they definitely need a new manager.
Snicker, like the Snicker bar?
We've had this conversation already.
I'm just kidding.
We've spelled it out.
I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying.
But listen, the point is they need a starting pitcher. Not just a starting pitcher. They need somebody to pitch a game, at least a game 2. Because Soroka could pitch a game 1 if our manager wasn't stupid and say you can pitch game 1. But they need a second pitcher. And obviously, they need to sign Josh Donaldson because they need that power bat back in the lineup. And that 1, 2, 3, 4 was one of the best in the league. That between Acuna hitting first, Albies second, Freeman third, and Donaldson fourth. And then they end up being a top 5 hitting team in baseball. So as long as they re-sign Donaldson, I don't care about the hitting. But pitching. I don't even care about the relief. I don't understand the relief pitchers can be up and down. They could trade for a relief pitcher in the middle of the year, but they need a starting pitcher.
You won't resign O'Day?
Yeah, they resigned O'Day.
Resigned him?
Yeah, they resigned him a 1-year, $2 million deal. So they got one of their bullpen arms but they need to get a starter because I think Soroka makes a good 1 or 2, and Freed can pitch game 3. And even if you have Fulton Everett who can be up or down as a game 4, that's fine. But they need somebody at the top of the rotation, and Keuchel was not that guy. He was a guy who. He was a 2 that's already lowering towards a 3. They need a 2 or a 1. So they used Keuchel like he was still ace. They pitched him in game 1,
yeah, they did. And
they pitched him in the biggest game of the year in game 5. Or game 4. So they're pitching him in games that an ace should be pitching in. So if they get that ace to pitch in that spot, whether it's a declining ace in Bumgarner or whether it's a possible rising ace in Wheeler to be a number 2. I think they'll be actually in the NLCS if they get one of those.
Their offense looked great though, and let me tell you, I'll be honest with you. I thought they were winning that series against the Cardinals. I thought that game 5. I mean, I hate to say it because I hate saying this too, but I think it was a fluke, man. Like that was crazy. Like that doesn't happen a lot. I mean, I can't remember a game 5 that turned out like that. Actually, no, you can't.
Ever.
I mean, that never happened, in the first inning. So I really thought the Braves were going to win that series, and I thought they were going to win that Game 5. And, they would have been in the NLCS, and who the fuck knows? Who knows what happened in the NLCS?
We saw
who knows what
And the
happened?
Braves have dominated the Nats most of the year last year.
There you go.
But the thing about it, you mentioned Game 5. Game 5, they had Fulton starting, and he is not a top of the guy that you can depend on. He's a guy who's been up and down, and you don't want somebody like that starting. You want either an ace or your number 2 starting in Game 5. That's it. So to have somebody who I consider a number 3 or 4 starting in Game 5, you're already scoring yourself right there. And we already talked about it. If the manager didn't start Soroka in Game 3, he would have been pitching that Game 5, and he's our ace.
I agree.
So you can't have your ace pitching one game in a 5-game series, and that's why you lose. So yes, they need a new manager, but they definitely need an ace. So real quickly before we get to the games tomorrow, we got 4 or 5 impact games that we really got to get to tomorrow. But quickly, Dave, you were high on the Golden State Warriors. Before the year started, you said you're still picking them to come out the West.
I did.
And now Steph Curry is out for minimum 3 months. Some people say it could be longer, but minimum 3 months.
He doesn't want to play?
At this point right now, they have pretty much Draymond Green and D'Angelo Russell, and that's it. D'Angelo scored like 50 points there, and they still lost.
Crazy.
Do you tank if you're the Golden State Warriors?
Listen, I don't.
Do you trade D'Angelo Russell and say, listen, we're just going to suck this year?
I don't think you can, man, because of that name, Golden State Warriors. I mean, how do you do that?
It's not the LA Lakers.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, listen, you have a big reputation to maintain. I mean, listen, when's the last time you won the championship? I mean, it hasn't been that long ago. So, and it's unfortunate, obviously, that you don't have Klay Thompson because of an injury.
Yeah.
You don't have Steph Curry because of an injury.
Durant's gone.
I mean, Durant's gone. I mean, there's so much stuff that has happened in a small span of time, which is crazy. And listen, like you said, I mean, like D'Angelo Russell is doing big things. I mean, he can't do everything, obviously. So, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think.
Who would have thought that D'Angelo Russell would have downgraded going from the Nets to Golden State?
Crazy, I know.
I
mean, who knows? I mean, listen, I thought they were going to be formidable. I thought they were going to be a big force this year, and I was totally wrong. And who knows? I don't think they should tank because, again, you ruined the Warrior name, with that. So I don't think you can do that.
I'm about to believe that. Listen, this is one of the very rare cases that.
Crazy.
You are a team that has stars on your team, but you have a chance to get another young star. And I think at this point, you take it.
Isn't that selling your soul, though?
No, I don't think it is.
No, how?
Because you already know you're going to be out for 3 months. So at minimum, you're not going to have Curry until after the All-Star break in February. So are you going to fight to try to get the 8th spot and then probably lose in the first round to a Clippers or Houston or one of those teams? Or do you tank, get a top 5 pick, and now next year you're going to have Curry, you're going to have Klay, you're going to have Draymond, you're going to have a top 5 pick, and you're going to probably have some money to spend, and you roll with that.
But that's the thing, though. The word tanking is like...
Yeah, NBA doesn't want to hear it, but everybody does it. There's at least 5 to 10 teams that are tanking the last month of the season. And you can go back to last year, and it was the same thing. You saw all those teams that had round 20 wins last year. They were tanking. There's no way that you're an actual NBA team trying, and you're not tanking. And a perfect example is the New Jersey Nets. The New Jersey Nets did not have a good team going into last year. Nobody expected them to make the playoffs, but they know they weren't going to get their draft pick, so they're trying as hard as they can. And what they do, they made the playoffs. Like if NBA players really tried, and the management lets them actually try to win and doesn't do stupid things like trading away star players or anything, they're going to be close to a playoff spot. But if you go things like, all right, we're going to rest this guy a couple games, and, he's got a bent fingernail, we're going to rest him out this game. And
like the Clippers are doing.
Yeah. The thing different with the Clippers, the one thing that's different from the Clippers is they have so many good players, they can sit out a guy and still do that.
Like Kawhi, the best player in the league?
Really? Well, now that's the thing. Paul George isn't back yet, so when Kawhi's out now, they need it. I think they're 0-2 right now, resting him. When they have Paul George, maybe they'll be to split those games, and it's a different story. But listen,
I don't agree with it.
I think they should tank. You don't think they should tank? We'll see what they do in a couple months because we'll see if Curry's back after the All-Star break or if something happens and out for the year or something like
Curry
that.
on a,
So we'll see what happens. But hey, we got big games, and we got about 10 minutes to get to it. So we got 4 big games tomorrow in the NFL, and let's quickly get to them. We'll save the best for last, but let's go with the main rivalry right here: Jets versus Giants. What happens in that game? Man. I know it's a game that's going to be a killer for all New York, but do you see you actually winning this game against the Jets?
Oh man, I don't even want to.
Yes, 3-0.
I don't even want to. Listen. You know, my opinion is probably a little different than you guys, but I think it's gonna be a high-scoring game. I think each team. I'll be honest with you.
I agree.
I think each team is gonna be able to score on each other's team. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I hope the Giants win. I don't see the Giants winning this game. For some reason, I don't know why. I'm just going with my gut. I think it's going to be some type of last-minute clusterfuck that the Giants end up, doing because they always do it, especially against a hometown rivalry. Mm-hmm. And I think the Jets pull this off in the end. Again, I think it's being a high-scoring game. I think the Giants are just going to do something stupid in the end. It's going to be some type of fumble or pick six or something stupid where the Jets end up winning this damn game and they end up winning the toilet bowl as well. I don't want to say it's going to be the toilet bowl.
Listen, I think it's also going to be a high-scoring game. I think
you guys are delusional.
I'm going to say it's going to be a 27-27 tie.
I'm
calling a tie.
I don't think it's going to be a tie.
If this game is a tie, I want all credit from everybody out there watching this video. I want you to tell everybody that I called it a tie for us, 27-27. All right, let's quickly move to the other game, Carolina and Green Bay. You got Carolina, who's coming off a beat down on Tennessee last week as usual. And then you got Green Bay, who's trying to get back into rhythm right before they head into their bye week. Who wins that game?
I think Green Bay comes back, man. Listen, that loss was crazy. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't think they were going to lose to the Chargers last week. Big up to the Chargers for putting a good game plan. But listen, Aaron Rodgers.
The coach sucks.
I
don't like Anthony.
But listen, every time Aaron Rodgers, man, he comes back from a loss or something disappointing, man, he comes back twofold. So I think they take this game. Again, I like what Kyle Allen's doing this year. Mm-hmm. But listen, you got to remember, he's a young quarterback. He's going to make mistakes. I think, Green Bay's going to make him make mistakes enough to win, and he's going to get to Aaron Rodgers. Come on, man. I mean, he's going to respond. He's going to make a statement to the league with this game and saying, listen, last week it happened. It ain't happening this week. So,
I think that Green Bay will win the game. I agree with you that I think Rodgers will try to put on a show because he was a little bit underwhelming last week. I think that Carolina can play defense with them. But I don't think their offense will be able to put up enough unless McCaffrey has one of the best games of his life, which is possible.
400 yards rushing.
Well, no, I can see over 200 total yards. I can see that, but
400 total.
Yes, video game style. But I can see McCaffrey having one of those 70 to 80 yards receiving to go with 120 yards rushing. So I can see him having a 200-yard game. The question is, will that be enough? And I'm not sure it'll be enough. I think Rodgers and the Packers offense, Devontae Adams got warmed back up last week, and now he'll be unleashed fully now this week. I see him find a way to get into the end zone, and I think the Packers win that game probably by about 10 to 13 points, in my opinion. Sunday night football game. Because two best games, surprisingly, the two best games, in my opinion, are Sunday night and then Monday night. So Sunday night, Minnesota Vikings. Once again, we got Kirk Cousins on the national TV game. I don't understand how he gets on TV all the time. But he goes to Dallas Cowboys Stadium to go against the Dallas Cowboys. I personally think that, listen, I never trust Cousins in a big game. I think I've been predicting him pretty well all year. I said when he was going to go on his meteoric run, I said 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. And I'm calling when he's going to go on his drop, and I'm calling it from this week. I think this week he ends up with about 240 yards and 1 touchdown. So
How many picks?
2.
2 picks.
Two
wow,
picks.
2 picks. 1 touchdown with 2 picks.
Yes. So I don't think he's going to have a good game. I think Dalvin Cook can have a good game. And he may keep them in the game, but I think Dallas wins this game. What do you think?
I think, listen, I'm going to go with the opposite. Listen, I know Dallas had a win against the Giants. You know, they're trying to get their offense and that team, you know, sparked up. But it's us. Listen, you know, everybody's been feasting against the Giants. So I think, you know, Minnesota is underrated. I think they're going to run the ball. I think Dalvin Cook's going to have a huge game, and they're going to rely on him. You know, with spurts, obviously, with Cousins going to his wide receivers.
So he got one now.
I know he's only got one now, but he's got a damn good one though.
No, he does.
So you know, and he's got Johnson.
I don't.
Johnson's
I'm not
from.
trusting him.
Who's Johnson?
I'm not trusting him.
Who's this guy?
I'm not trusting anybody else. It's nothing but digs and that's it. I ain't trusting anybody
but
else.
listen, I think they still pull it out. You know, even though it's in Dallas, I think they're gonna find a way to, you know, to manufacture those touchdowns. Probably, you know, who's their tight end again?
Kyle Rudolph.
I think Kyle Rudolph probably has, you know, one touchdown, you know, in this game. I think they're going to try to spread the ball. Cousins has been good at spreading the ball this year.
Played a sorry ass defense.
He has, but listen, I'm not too convinced about the Dallas defense.
This game will decide if he is a scheduled dependent quarterback.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, that's what's going to decide.
And it's going to be tough in Dallas, but I think he gets it done. And remember, listen, Minnesota's defense is not the Giants' defense.
Yeah.
Like I said before, sometimes you need to beat up on that, you know, easy defense or that easy team to get your confidence up. But listen, everybody's been beating up on the Giants this year, you know, with the exception of the Patriots for 3 quarters. But you know, I think Minnesota gets the job done at the end. I think they get a win in Big D.
All right. So last game of the week, and it'll be literally the last game of the week, and the last game we talked about today for the last 3 minutes.
Man, it's gonna be a good game.
This is the game that our producer is waiting for, because he's waited for the 49ers to go against Seattle for about 3 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're going to see Seattle at San Fran. San Fran right now is a 6-point favorite. What's your take on the game?
The Seattle Supersonics. Oh wait, it's not Supersonics.
Monday Night Football.
That's right. I'm sorry. It's the Seahawks, not
Yes,
Supersonics.
Seahawks.
So listen, it's going to be a good game, man. Really, really good game. I mean, to be honest with you, I've been having a tough time with this game. I mean, it's just like, you know, is San Francisco real? You know, are they going to get the job done?
Yeah.
You know, you go into Seattle.
Well, this wasn't San Fran.
This is France.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Fran.
It's San Fran. So, you know, Seattle is obviously a formidable opponent. You got Russell Wilson, who's, you know, got a resume of winning a Super Bowl and being able to pull out, you know, big plays. So I think you still got to go with San Francisco, man. The undefeated team, that defense. Nobody's beat them so far, obviously. They just look too good,
Listen,
especially with that running game, leaning on that running game. You know, Garoppolo's making his throws. He's able to get the ball to his big players like Kittle, and now you got Emmanuel Sanders. So you got to go with that offense.
Listen,
and that defense is just looking too good right now.
The last couple of weeks I've played very close. 2 weeks I've paid a lot of attention to San Francisco. We know they have a good defense. Their offense is opening it a little bit more. But the thing that's really striking me, they play really good at home. And their crowd energized the hell out of them. And this is going to be a game. This is going to be.
Shit, I thought they were playing in Seattle.
No, that's not San Fran.
I could have sworn they were playing in Seattle.
I knew that because the reason why, if this game was in Seattle, I would have picked Seattle.
Oh, man. But it would have been good, though, if they were playing Seattle, right?
That would have been
fucking great.
But if this game is San Francisco, I'm picking this game is going to start at between about 5:30 California time. That crowd is going to be energized for this crowd. They're going to go nuts for this.
Are they going to be drunk?
Listen, I think this is the game that's going to try to put them on the map. I think this is the game that I have to say San Fran runs wild on them on Seattle defense. So this is going to be that game where I think is their coming out party, where our producer can finally say they are legit.
If they beat Seattle, they still got Arizona. They still got
Arizona.
They got Baltimore. They got to prove to me. New Orleans.
Listen. None of that matters.
No.
If they're 9-0,
yeah, nothing matters.
And they just beat Seattle at home, they are proving that what I said 2 weeks ago when people joked at me, San Francisco's the best team in the NFC.
Nope.
So with that said, We will catch you again. This Saturday show, a special edition with Vic not here again.
Thank you, Vic.
We will catch you from Wednesday from Bogies.
Fuck you, Vic.
We'll catch, maybe Dre will actually make a special
been here,
appearance.
man.
We know Vic won't be here for 2 weeks, but maybe Dre will make an appearance. So we will catch you from Bogies on Wednesday.
Vic, I'm putting you on a no-fly list.
We'll give you a couple
You won't
college
be able to
picks.
fly.
We'll talk about college.
It don't fucking matter.
Recap the pro. We'll talk about if San Fran's for real. So, peace.
Peace, mi gente. I love you.
Be careful with the triads.